Okay, let's move on and let's try and delve deeper into another trend which has really caught on in the post-COVID life, and that's been cloud kitchens. So let's welcome on board. We have with us Prasanjit Singh, the co-founder at shaku.com. We also have Prateek Sadhu from Masque restaurant. Gentlemen, hi, morning. Good to have you both on the show. Prasanjit, if I could get the discussion going with you. Is it a given now that in the post-COVID world, it's cloud kitchens which win as opposed to the traditional style physical format restaurants?
I think cloud kitchens were there before COVID, but the definition of cloud kitchens have changed in the last 5 to 6 months. A typical cloud kitchen needs to have multi-product, multi-brands, minimum 5 to 6 brands from a kitchen. Today, even single restaurants with a single dimensional product are talking about cloud kitchen. So it's basically delivery is what the brand wagon is, and everybody and anybody and everybody who had a brick and mortar restaurant is getting into this brand wagon because of lack of people coming to their doors. So yes, that's the new buzzword in food and beverage is cloud kitchen.
Prateek, it's a more viable option as well, I'm guessing. You being a restaurant owner yourself, it's going to be, I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong here, it's going to be a while before we're going to see restaurants run 100% capacity. So purely in terms of the financial viability, I'm guessing that cloud kitchens would be a more prudent option as of now.
I feel definitely, because looking at the current scenario right now, we're running at the capacity of 50%, and your restaurant cannot be operational post 11:30. So numbers don't add up. If I just talk purely about business, my numbers don't add up. So for a restaurant, which is a standalone restaurant, the viable option right now is to have dine-in services at 50% and at the same time doing delivery also. Because if they are only depending on one kind of model, then I don't think that's it's going to be sustainable at all.
Okay. So give us a sense, Prateek, of how this is going to shape up going forward. Do you see this as an interim trend? Do you see this as something that could actually grow as a proper revenue stream? The likelihood of it replacing the existing business, of course, is probably not the easy answer. But how does this really pan out in the near future? Because we all know the industry's been coming out of a really difficult time, and while this has been a lifesaver, how does this really, sort of tie into the overall strategy going forward?
I think the two important points which I want to highlight here. Number one is people who are saying that, the industry is going to be delivery only industry and there'll be no restaurants. I think they're really, really wrong. Restaurants, there were restaurants, there are restaurants, there will be restaurants. And I think that becomes the base of the entire food and beverage industry. Yes, for the past 7 months, we have looked at different revenue options. And of course, delivery was one of the most important because that was allowed during pandemic times. Now, after 7 months, I'm just taking a step back and looking at a very different revenue model, saying, oh yes, now we can make money out of delivery. We can make money out of making any product out of the same kitchen I'm talking. And of course, also offer the dine-in services. So now, as far as business is concerned, you're looking at one unit which can diversify into like 3 or 4 different kind of revenue generating streams. So I think that's very important. I think that has become sort of a trend right now. And going forward also, I see a restaurant, which is a brick mortar restaurant, just not operating on single model, will be operating on multi-models. When I say multi-models, which is dine-in, which is delivery, and which can also be something which they are producing for homes, for to be on the shelves of different places.
Sure. Prasanjit, would there be players that have a natural advantage in the space, or do you actually see competition heating up, given that more and more, people, and whether it be individual, boutique players as well, may be looking to get into this particular segment to tap into the kind of potential there is?
Is that this cloud kitchen business was basically managed by fast food players and big brands. Now gourmet players are coming into it, because one has to understand that in a restaurant you serve food and people consume the food within 5 to 10 minutes of production, whereas here you need to produce food which travels 10 to 15 kilometers and also stays good for a couple of hours. So the whole model is very different. One has to understand, if you're doing in the gourmet level product, then you need to understand how food travels. That's very important in this part of the business. So players, the new thing which I'm seeing last 3-4 months is a lot of gourmet players are coming, a lot of hotels are coming into delivery and cloud kitchen. So raw structured market, people are coming into this market. So I think the game is going to become very competitive, number one. Number two, the players who are serious about delivery, not that it's a stopgap arrangement till things go to normal, are going to stay and do this business. Because the business model, financial model of a cloud kitchen is very different from brick and mortar.
Yeah, fair enough, Prasanjit. But, the disadvantage, apart from the financial viability, which seems to be a huge advantage, is that they depend heavily on food aggregators for orders, which can be a little bit difficult to deal with. There's competition from a lot of the very well-established QSR players, the likes of KFC, McDonald's, etc. And then the astronomical technical costs as well. So don't you think that those present as huge challenges, and therefore, you were saying that this could be a stopgap move? Maybe that is for a lot of players, because long term this may not entirely be viable.
I think the game here is scalability, and one has to understand terms like what e-commerce players like Amazon. It's like playing e-commerce. You're right. Technology plays a very important role. You need to understand that in brick and mortar, technology doesn't play that important role. But here, aggregators have to be your partners. You can't do business without them. So you got to. That's part of your life. You got to partner with them and have build relationship with them. So my view on this is that you might have your own website, but unless you play game with the aggregators, I don't think you can scale up this business. So from a cost perspective, yes, it is very different. So what is required here is that rather than monitor your cost and your MIS on a weekly basis rather than monthly basis, so that you play T20 here, you don't play test match, that you don't wait for end of the month for your P&Ls like the brick and mortar restaurants do. So it's very thin edge margin. So you need to be on top of your number game here.
A different ball game altogether, if you will. And, Prateek, a niche segment though as of now, but it's projected to grow very strongly. What kind of growth do you see for this market in the long run, for the overall cloud kitchen phenomenon? And long term, want to understand from you whether you see it as competition for restaurants, or you said existing side by side, that is going to be the new norm, right?
Will be side by side for a lot of restaurants, and for a lot of restaurants who are switching permanently to delivery model. I strongly feel during these times there's so many smaller businesses that have started, that have popped up. Now it is becoming so that they're in the market, like it's a gush of cloud kitchen. You'll see at least 100 to 200 cloud kitchens coming in. Now the game moving forward is qualitative game, because consumer is not a fool. He knows the quality, he knows the food, he knows everything. So at the end of the day, it'll be all quality over quantity game. Now you can't have 100 cloud kitchens all making money. It won't happen. Cloud kitchens will make money. That's a really good business model, but it needs to have a qualitative game. It needs to have that certain kind of edge. Why am I ordering food vis-a-vis not going to a restaurant? I mean, leaving the safety side aspect aside. I think that's the biggest question a cloud kitchen, I think, needs to ask right now. Like, why? Because right now, when we also started delivering, I think we were thinking as if like a person is dining at a restaurant. So I think the lot of like how we are packing things, how we are branding things, obviously the food quality plays a bigger role here. But at the end of the day, it has to be a total package which needs to go in. So quality over quantity any day.
Okay, it's going to be a tough game, and of course there's only going to be a few that emerge at the top. It's been a pleasure chatting with you both, Prasanjit as well as Prateek. Thanks so much for taking time out and giving us a deeper insight into the concept of cloud kitchens, delivery and the survival really of the restaurant industry.